right, year 3, week 12, nothing is safe. Let's get back into another DNS address. Week 12 is complete, and if anybody needed a reminder of what November football looks like, here you go. South Florida entered the week ranked number 4 after winning 8 straight. They lost. DeMarcus Compton entered the week as the Heisman frontrunner. John Morello responded by scoring 7 touchdowns. Georgia Tech is now 11-0 and just beat Virginia by 66 points. Georgia Southern reached 10 wins. Troy survived by 2. Sacramento State reached 9. Texas State reached 9. Army officially secured win number 6. And we have reached the point where one Saturday can change the ratings, the postseason picture, and the Heisman race all in once. Nothing is comfortable anymore. Nothing is guaranteed, and nothing is safe. Let's get into it. Our headline of the week was Georgia Tech is 1 win from perfection. Number 1, Georgia Tech traveled to Virginia. Final score 69-3. 69-3, guys. We spent 12 weeks trying to come up with new ways to describe what Georgia Tech is doing to opponents. I'm officially accepting suggestions at this point. Clutts threw for 287 and 5 touchdowns. Willies ran for 227 and 2 touchdowns. Ford added 2 more touchdowns. Bowman went for 174 receiving yards and another score. And that alone would have been enough to beat anybody. But this is Georgia Tech. So naturally, Wrotto decided special teams that needed another chapter. He had a 99-yard kickoff return touchdown. Then a 74-yard punt return touchdown. 2 scores. Again, somebody please stop kicking him the ball. Defensively, Tay Harris intercepted 2 passes. The Yellow Jackets were able to add 4.5 sacks. Virginia managed just 3 points. Tech is now 11-0, still number 1, and 1 game stands between the Yellow Jackets and a perfect regular season. Next, number 1 Georgia Tech at Georgia, in-state rivalry, undefeated season on the line, number 1 ranking on the line. There's not much more you could ask for. John Morello takes the Heisman lead back. Last week, DeMarcus Compton moved into the number 1 spot of the Heisman watch. Apparently, John noticed. Old Dominion went to Georgia State and won 56-21. Morello carried the football 38 times for 208 yards and scored 7 touchdowns. Again, yes, again. This man has now produced 2 7-yard touchdown performances this season. He was named the National Offensive Player of the Week. And most importantly, the Heisman watch has flipped. Morello won. The reigning Heisman has reclaimed the top spot. Timmons rushed for 138 as his Spellin scored. Between those two, they had 346 rushing yards, 8 touchdowns. Old Dominion's able to improve to 8-3, and the Heisman defense is officially back on top. Next, at Southern Mississippi. South Florida finally gets caught. 8 straight wins, number 4 in the country, college football playoff positioning. Then came Tulane. Tulane wins 37-30, and South Florida's biggest problem from earlier in the season came rolling back, turnovers. Ethan Holiday threw 4 interceptions. Henry Hasselback threw 2 more. 6 picks. Yes, 6. Against a good football team in November, that's indefinitely. It's difficult to survive. And yet South Florida still had the opportunities as C.J. Sadler caught a touchdown, returned 2 punts for touchdowns, with one of those being a 64-yarder. But apparently C.J. Sadler had decided ordinary special teams production is beneath him. We don't know yet. Teddy Foster was outstanding defensively as well. 12 tackles, 3 for loss, and despite the loss, he was also named the National Defensive Player of the Week. The defense was able to add 5 sacks, an interception, a forced fumble, and a blocked kick. But 6 offensive interceptions were simply too much. South Florida falls to 9-2 and drops to number 14. That playoff position took a hit, but the season's not over yet, and next week, South Florida gets another ranked opportunity. Number 14, South Florida, will be at number 18, Memphis. We are about to learn a lot about how this team responds. Georgia Southern reaches 10 wins. Arkansas State went to Statesboro. Georgia Southern, though, wins 45-7, and the Eagles officially reach a 10-1 season. 10 wins. KJ Towers threw for 242 and 3 touchdowns. J.J. Bradley went for 100 yards rushing and scored. Alex Taylor caught 2 passes, both of those being touchdowns, 81 yards in total. That's called efficiency. The defense added 3 sacks, 3 interceptions, and a forced fumble. Georgia Southern has now won 10 straight games since losing the opener to number 1 Oklahoma. 10 straight. Remember when we spent the first part of the season asking voters to rank them? Now they're headed in to next week at number 8 in the nation. Appalachian State comes to Statesboro, and Georgia Southern still has plenty play to go. Troy survives. Southern Mississippi nearly ruined Troy's afternoon, but the Trojans found a way. The final was 23-21. Troy wins. Waldrop threw 2 touchdowns. He also threw 3 interceptions. So there will probably be a few clips in the film room that Coach Barnett conveniently skips over very quickly. A.J. Walters rushed for 144 yards. Dennis Palmer rushed for added 88. Farrell added 57. Troy leaned heavily on the running game and survived. The defense forced 2 fumbles and intercepted a pass. Was it beautiful? No. Did Troy get the win? Number 9? Absolutely. The Trojans improved to 9-1 and head into next week ranked number 11. And our UL Monroe comes to town. November did not care about style points, though. They survive and they advance. Sacramento State reaches 9 wins. Sacramento State went to Miami University, and the Hornets were able to win 38-10 and improve to 9-2. Rainey rushed for 109 yards and scored twice. Babcock threw a touchdown. Hardy caught another touchdown. The defense controlled the afternoon with 4 sacks. No drama, no overtime, no 4 interception quarterback stat line. Just a clean road victory. We anticipate the break. Washington State comes to Sacramento next, and the Hornets are now 1 win away from double digits. Texas State reaches number 9. Texas State beats Colorado State 41-20. Roslyn had a very efficient day, 209 yards passing, 2 touchdowns through the air, and scored 1 on the ground. Damian Crow went over 100 yards receiving and scored. And DeMarcus Compton, you may ask, another 171 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. The Bobcats were able to improve to 9-2. But there was movement in that Heisman race. Compton dropped from 1 to 2 after Brillo's 7 touchdown explosion. Does this mean his campaign is finished, though? Not even close. Texas State has won 4 straight since the UCLA loss. Compton continues producing, and there is still football left. Next, Oregon State. The Bobcats will travel there next week. Army gets win number 6. Army has beat Rice 30-8. The Black Knights improved to 6-4. That 6th win matters. Lutner threw for a touchdown. Bray added 2 on the ground. Shaver topped 100 yards receiving and caught a touchdown. The Army's defense created even more havoc. 3 sacks, an interception, 2 forced fumbles. Crummer scooped one of those fumbles and returned 45 yards for a touchdown. Army has now bounced back from that brutal Tulsa Air Force stretch with consecutive wins. Coach Nighthawk has Army sitting above 500 heading into the final stretch, and ECU comes to West Point next. UAB falls again. Tulsa beat UAB 39-21, and the Blazers fall to 2-9. The frustrating part, there was plenty of rushing production. Nate Rogers ran for 190 and scored. Ingram rushed for 136 and scored. Sally added another 110. It's over 400 yards rushing out of those 3 alone, and UAB still lost by 18. And you may ask why. Nate Rogers threw 3 more interceptions and almost nothing through the air. You can run a lot of yards. Eventually, you still need to balance to finish drives and keep the opponent honest. Next, they are at number 18, Memphis, because apparently the schedule would like one final laugh. Mississippi State runs into another ranked team. Number 20, Texas A&M went to Mississippi State. The final was 44-7. Mississippi State falls to 2-9. 3 quarterbacks all action for the Bulldogs, and all 3 threw an interception. That almost feels statistically impressive. Not in the preferred direction. Peterkin added to continue to add production. Beach added an interception defensively, and the Bulldogs never seriously threatened Texas A&M, though. Next for them, they're at number 22, Ole Miss, another ranked opponent, another chance to salvage something for a difficult season. Our stock-ups this week, Georgia Tech at 11-0, number 1 win from perfection. Nothing more needs to be said. Georgia Southern at 10 wins, 10-1 overall, number 8 in the country, one of the strongest stories in the entire dynasty. Old Dominion at 8 wins and a Heisman frontrunner who is wearing an ODU uniform again. Sacramento State at 9-2, quietly, consistently, successfully stacking wins. Our need more film of the week is South Florida's quarterback, 6 interceptions. We are well beyond clean that up. Again, against ranked opponents in November, that will get you beat. And it did. Troy's passing game, 3 interceptions and a 2-point win. Troy survived, but there is not much margin for that going forward. And UAB, more than enough rushing production, still not enough complementary football. That has been the story for them. Our Week 12 honors our defensive and offensive players. Our offensive player is John Barillo. Our defense is Teddy Foster, 2 guys that we had announced earlier. Our special teams player this week was CJ Sadler with 2 punt return touchdowns in the same game. Kickoff return scored, punt return scored, multiple games with multiple return touchdowns. At this point, there's only one reasonable strategy for them is kick it out of bounds. It hasn't happened yet. You guys have heard our Heisman watch, and truly the race is nowhere but finished. But honestly, this is exactly where we wanted it. 2 running backs going back and forth late in the season for Heisman Trophy. We'll see who is able to pull that one out. Our Built Not Given of the week, it goes to Georgia Southern. 10 wins, 10 consecutive victories, and think about how year 3 began. At number 1 Oklahoma, they lost. Then number 4 Oregon, number 7 LSU. There were plenty of opportunities for an opening stretch to wreck the season. Instead, Georgia Southern answered after that first loss and answered. 10 straight wins. Now the Eagles, number 8 in the country, double-digit wins, still climbing. That was not handed to them. It was built, not given. In our Week 13 look, here we go. Number 1, Georgia Tech at Georgia. That is the game, 11-0. Number 1 in the country. Perfect season on the line. In-state rival. This should not be much trouble going to motivate for that one. Appalachian State at number 8, Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern's won 10. Now the Eagles try to reach 11. Number 14, South Florida at number 18, Memphis. South Florida just took a major punch. Now comes the response, ranked road game. 9 wins already, and a chance to immediately repair some damage from the Tulane loss, sorry. UL Monroe at number 11, Troy, 9-1, double-digit wins are waiting. Old Dominion at Southern Mississippi. John is back atop the Heisman race. Every performance matters now. Washington State at Sacramento State. Sacramento State is 9-2. One more gives them 10. See if they can get there. Texas State at Oregon State. Texas State is 9-2. Compton's number 2 in the Heisman race. This one is an important stage. And ECU at Army. Army secured win number 6. Now they try to keep climbing. Mississippi State at number 22, Ole Miss. Ranked rivalry opponent. A difficult season. A chance to make everybody else's year hurt. Sometimes November is about champions. Sometimes it's also about just ruining your rival's afternoon. UAB at number 18, Memphis. A brutal assignment for a 2-10 team, but at this point, nothing to lose. Go swing. Overall, Week 12 provided exactly why November football is different. Florida had 8 wins straight. One afternoon changing everything. Compton was leading the Heisman race. John Barillo scored 7 touchdowns to go back. Georgia Tech is still perfect, and Georgia is waiting. Georgia Southern has won 10 straight. Troy has won 9. Sacramento State at 9. Texas State has 9. Old Dominion at 8. Army at 6. Everything is still moving. The rankings, the playoff picture, the Heisman race, and with the regular season almost over, there are fewer and fewer chances to recover from a mistake. Georgia Tech has perfection within reach. Georgia Southern has 11 wins within reach. Troy, Sacramento State, and Texas State have double-digit wins within reach. And Barillo and Compton are staring directly at each other in the Heisman race that may go all the way to the end. Nothing is locked in. Nothing is guaranteed. And in November, nothing is safe. In the Department of Natural Selection, you select, we collect, built, not given.